Hello and welcome to another tutorial. This time I am in the cave of Arewethereyet. This is the room after the gold room in the Temple of Suul. And it's probably one of the harder sections to get through, and a lot of people feel like they absolutely 100% have to have somebody else in order to get through, and it's not really true. So I'm gonna kind of go through how to get through the cave, and I can still struggle with some of the parts. Can get kind of tricky, I'm not going to lie about that, but it's not all that bad as long as you just work at it. So first jump is pretty straightforward, and I can't even make that. No. Then we're going to turn it and jump up here and up here. Now on this one, you get up against the wall, you just jump, and that rock will actually push you onto this one. You don't have to try to jump onto this. Just jump straight up, you get pushed onto it. Next we're going to come... Okay. Next we are going to come up here, and you want to jump there, but you also want to make sure that you're staying towards this edge when you make that jump, otherwise you'll hit your head on that platform and you won't make it. Now this one's a little bit of a trickier jump, and I kind of like to jump this one backwards, personal preference, so I can see, but you don't want to over jump, and the reason I like to jump backwards is if it looks like I'm overshooting it, I can push forward and stop myself from completely missing it. And we're going to just jump over here, and then that platform, could jump to it, don't have to. You can just jump straight up here. So you can completely skip that one. For this part, you can walk up here and jump. I just jump, and then when I get next to the platform, jump again and make it on this one. Just a regular jump. Regular jump, you might end up on the rock. You want to get to the platform. We jump over here, and then we're going to jump up onto here. And if you noticed, when I made that jump, I wasn't actually trying to get on there. I was aiming for the wall, just letting the rock in the wall push me over here. Now this jump, you might want to get lined up so that you're going straight. Pull your camera down so that you know when you're hitting that edge. But you have this wall here, you can't over jump it, but it is easy to stumble and catch the transition. And what I mean by the transition, see if I can show you here. Oh, come on. I'm just doing a terrible job, but anyway. Really? So if you come from, say, this one, and you try to make the jump, that actually worked out better than I thought it was going to, but what I've had happen to me sometimes in the past is I will go to jump and it'll say I didn't make it that time because I hit the edge. And what I mean by the edge is, you see how you have this line and then there's an edge and then the different faces of the shape. And if you hit the transition point of where it goes from one of these faces to the other, it can sometimes trip you up and you like don't even go forward at all. So we jump up here and then just up onto this rock, take a few steps back and then jump onto this platform. And then for this jump, it might look like you can go over, but you'll hit this rock and fall down. Now this one, it's a little bit of a shorter jump, so you don't need to really go for a really long jump, just short, normal jump. And then to get down here, I'm just going to walk towards where this plant is and slide down. Then we jump across, and that first part is kind of the most difficult because it's the easiest one to slip back and lose your progress. Once you get here, these sections are a little shorter, but the jumping's a little more difficult. So we jump up here, and then most of what we're going to be doing is lining up so that we're going to go to the side, and then this slope is actually going to let us slide onto the platforms. And then once you get up here, ride the cannon, and then the other cannon. And this is the home stretch for the cave. So I take a little bit of a step back and then just jump over to here, and just like in the previous section, you want to line up off to the side and let the hill push you onto the platforms. Now for this jump, push forward and the I guess you would call it the strafe. So for the WASD configuration, you have Q and E, let you walk side to side. So I push forward and E, but it doesn't always work. And if you do fall like that, you can just walk back down to the cannon and be very careful to avoid that hole, because you do not want to fall through that. It's very easy to end up all the way back to the start of the cave if you do. There we go. Made it up here. Now this is probably the most difficult jump of the entire cave. And what we're basically going to do is jump, and then when we get to that midpoint, try to jump again. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I haven't really found the knack to it, so there might be somebody else who knows it better than I do. But for this one, we're actually just going to aim straight for the platform, and then try to kind of end up above the thing here. Then we make this jump, and that's the end of the cave, and this is the final section. There's the ship that the staff is on, and then for this part you're just basically running from star to star, and right before you get to them, they'll kind of blink out like that. So you'll be running, and it'll go out. So you'll want to slow down right when you get to see them disappear, and just kind of move a little more slowly so you don't just walk off the edge of that, but just line up with the next star, run towards it, let it blink out. And creep up on it a little slowly. And to go through this teleporter, there is the staff. So the throne room and the gold room, you cannot get through without relying on other people, but the cave you can do on your own. So if anybody tells you that you absolutely have to have somebody else in order to get through, you don't, and I just showed you that you don't. It can be difficult, and a lot of people don't like to get through those on-platform sections without using other people's heads, because in a way it's easier, but kinda, I mean, if you're used to jumping off of people's heads, yeah, but for me, it's actually a bit harder because, you know, a person's head is kind of harder to tell when you're getting to the edge of their head. But if that's the way you want to do it, that's totally fine. You can do it that way. But if you don't really have a lot of friends and you were lucky enough to get through the gold room, you can get through the cave without having to use people's heads. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to finding something else to show you guys. Alright, until next time.